Hello everyone and welcome to Quake Lake. After finishing up some classes Friday morning, I left Friday afternoon to make my way down to Yellowstone National Park at the start of Labor Day weekend. Right now you are seeing time-lapse footage of me traveling through western Montana and making my way down, of course, to Wyoming. The next day, I made it into Wyoming and stopped at Quake Lake. This is where a large landslide occurred that devastated the area, which was triggered from a large magnitude earthquake nearby. Shortly after this, I made it down into the park itself in Yellowstone, and then, after leaving Yellowstone a couple days later, I stopped at my last stop, which was Craters of the Moon National Volcanic Monument located in southern Idaho. So in this video, you're going to be able to see all of that. This is a longer video than normal because of all the footage that I took. You're going to see lots of bubbling mud pots, some hot springs in Yellowstone, and some of the beautiful landscapes that I saw. So if you're planning on watching this whole video, I recommend that you make yourselves comfortable, and I hope you enjoy what you see. You can see the massive landslide right there. That's where it all started, and everything I'm standing on right now is the debris from that mountain. You can see where the landslide came down, and it created a natural dam and created Earthquake Lake. As you can see, the ghost forest, or just the dead trees in the water from where the shoreline used to be. And those trees can be seen all along the shoreline. All that rock slid across the river. It came all the way over here. These are all the rocks from the landslide that came from right there. If I remember correctly, from the sign I just read, it was August 17th, 1959 is when the earthquake hit. And I think it was a magnitude 7 or around that size. I don't think it hit here, it hit nearby, a nearby mountain. 28 people were killed here, 19 of them are still here. They're entombed within the landslide. 20 seconds apparently is all it took for that to come right down the mountain. There's an old picture, black and white picture, that's pretty cool. You can see the original extent of this landslide. Got an example of how the landslide occurred. Looks like you have two different rock types here. You got dolomite and weathered schist and gneiss rock. That probably acted as like a lubricant somewhat for that to all break loose, because that's two different rock types drastically. So you can see it just kind of came down, obviously. Completely different landscape. You go from more of a flatter landscape with a couple of mountains out there to really high mountains. Some old pictures. See the fault offset drop down. As some of you might know, Yellowstone, of course, is a geologically active area because of the Yellowstone hotspot and the Yellowstone Volcano, otherwise known as the Yellowstone Super Volcano, as people like to call it. But we're slowly making our way into the park, and we'll probably see some steaming fumaroles and mud pots and hot springs and geysers and all the fun stuff, you know, that you find in Yellowstone, as well as bison. I'm sure we're going to see lots of bison, and of course, whenever a bison pokes his head out of the trees, we're probably going to be in a massive backup of traffic. But that's just how Yellowstone do. There's some beautiful country through here. Hopefully you can see that. I'm filming while driving. Probably not the best idea, but I'm managing so far. So yes, Yellowstone is a volcano, and a lot of people believe that it's overdue to erupt. That is not entirely true. It is not overdue. Volcanics and geologic processes are not on a schedule. They do what they do on their own terms. And Yellowstone is nothing to be really concerned about erupting anytime soon. And just because it's a super volcano does not mean it's going to have a devastating super eruption. If it did erupt, it could be a really tiny eruption, perhaps even smaller than Mount St. Helens or the size of Mount St. Helens. But the chances of an eruption are not likely at all. That poor dragonfly. Would that be today? Last time I was here was 2015. It's been 5 years. Yeah. That fire's looking a little bit more intense. I'm now in the Norris Geyser Basin. Had a little bit of trouble. I got thrown into a 3-hour traffic jam. And my car was not liking that, so I was a little worried, but I made it. See the gas is coming out all over the place. I'm not going to stand here very long because I can feel the acid droplets in the air right now. It's not good for my equipment. But I just want to focus in on these fumaroles right here. When I was here 5 years ago in 15, these things were like jets. Gases were just shooting out of there just super fast, and it was just a loud roar. Oh, that might be why. I wonder. Looks like the side of it blew out. That might be the reason. I'll throw in a comparison video. You know, look at this landscape. I mean, Old Faithful is cool and all, but I feel like Old Faithful is just kind of overrated. It's probably not that Old Faithful is terrible or anything. I like Old Faithful, but you know, Old Faithful goes off every hour. You know, so it's predictable. these places, they're just so much more complex and different. Looks like something dried up there, and that's the thing with here comes that wind again. But that's the thing with geyser basins. They change, they never stay the same. So eventually one day, Old Faithful will not be faithful. Yeah, this landscape is just amazing. I'm just gonna go quiet now and let you guys enjoy the natural sounds. Hopefully with no wind. Shows the different bacteria that are living in the waters, which give it the different colors. That doesn't look very dangerous. So this is Minute Geyser, and apparently people used to throw rocks in it and it clogged it up, and it used to erupt every minute. Now it's reduced to this, I guess? It's a shame. Let me see if I can do an ominous zoom in like the movies do. Geyser's going off right now. Mud pond. Here I think you can get an idea of how much deposits and minerals that these geysers can shoot out. You can see where that tree originally grew, and then it got buried slightly by deposits before water, of course, channeled this out. And the uphill of that is Steamboat Geyser. Steamboat Geyser. This is what I like right here. Just open road, a couple cars here and there. Whew. That 3-hour traffic jam almost did me in. I was about to call it quits. Head on home. But stuck with it. Especially with the weird thing my car was doing. It did it to me once last year at Mount St. Helens. So, long road trip, high elevation, while going slow and downhill. So that's 4 different things. Coincidence? I wonder if it's like a sticking valve or something. It's really weird. Engine sounds fine, of course, when it happens. Man, it's gonna be a gorgeous sunset. I was hoping to get to an overlook. You can see all these hot spring thermal areas. Some of them are no longer active. Some of them are barely active. Good old Yellowstone. Hoping I can find a place tonight to stay and unwind. Of course, nowhere near Yellowstone because good luck with that. Made it to Mammoth Basin? Is that what they call it? I've never been here, so you're going to experience this with me for the first time as well. Quite the staircase they got here. I was hoping to get here before it got too dark to film, because then you guys wouldn't be able to see anything. So this is Jupiter Spring. That's what it used to look like back in 1923. It's been dormant apparently since 1998. No activity. That's a huge deposit of minerals. Beautiful country. See the layers and the geology and the rock over there. Almost looks like a face with a huge mouth. Beautiful. I'll take this way back down unless this loops. If this does become active again, this boardwalk being this close might be a problem. It's getting hard for you guys to see. Look at those terraces. It's like nature's stair steps. Awesome. That's a lot of mineral. It's just flat wasteland out there. Nothing seems to be happening too much. I can see a little bit of steam, some hot pools, and I can hear something bubbling. Well, this is going to be it for today. Well, not today, just for me anyways, because it's getting dark. Well, I guess you can see somewhat, but till the next place. So I'm currently here in the early hours of the morning. Hopefully I can beat the traffic jam this time. But I'm out here with my thermal cam. Just kind of having a little fun. Checking the temperatures. Camera won't focus on it this time of day. It's a little dark. So it's about 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:20ish. It's a very hot pool. I can see where the heat comes from now. Earthquake's offspring. Oh, this I'm guessing these springs occurred because of the earthquake in 1959. If you remember earlier in the video, we went to Quake Lake. It's kind of crazy how one single event affects so many things. Oh, it was a 7.3. I knew it was a 7 point something. There's a wolf out there. He's not liking us very much. That's cool. Alright, let's continue on up. Alright, so now we are at the Midway Geyser Basin. And didn't make it here yesterday because it was so packed. It's just awesome. It's pretty cold out this morning, so there's lots of extra steam. Or vapors in the air. It's not technically steam. There's no bison out here. There's a lot of heat out here. Some small terraces. Morning. Not much to see. You can see the footprints of the animals. Notice it goes from orange to this deeper color, which means there should be a color change. I mean, not color change, a temperature change. See, it's 42 degrees here, but if we go to the orange, it's 101, 104, 103. Quite a drop in temperature right there. Really blue water down there. It's bubbling like crazy. Probably not going to be able to see it through the steam. Ooh, something just burst. Interesting. If we go on the thermal, you can see the hot spot right there, 180 degrees. Pretty crazy. Now you can probably see the bubbling going on. Yellowstone's a very active place. I just discovered something really cool. So I hope we can see this. You can see how the hot water transitions into the river here. And you can see the temperature differences. See the orange there. It's hard to get it to focus right on the camera. But it cools down right there. You can see the transition zone in the river. The river right there is 74 degrees. Out there it's a little colder.
Here you go.
So I'm now at West Thumb, which is near the lake, and man, that is some clear water there. That's awesome. It's like a cave. You can see the bubbles rising from there. That's awesome. Wonder how hot that is. Yellowstone Lake. It's pretty hazy today because downwind of this fire. Lots of spring activity, thermal activity. You can see the deposits here going into the lake. So what's interesting about this bay here, I didn't know this, but it's a smaller caldera explosion eruption that happened within the bigger Yellowstone caldera, and there's another one over here, Mary Bay crater. And this blowout happened 125,000 years ago. So it just proves that, you know, smaller eruptions do occur without a massive super eruption. So just because it's a super volcano doesn't mean you're going to have a super eruption. You can have smaller eruptions within the volcano itself, the main caldera. Hopefully that steam clears. It should in just a second. Can you see that? How awesome. It's like an underwater cave. It'd be cool if you could put a small robotic down in there to kind of explore it, but they probably don't want to do that because you don't want to risk damaging the fragile environment it is. The abyss pool. It's a long ways down in there. So I'm now here at the sulfur cauldron. Now this area here might look inactive, and it is for the most part. Don't let that deceive you. There's still heat here. Can't tell anything until I put the thermal over. As you can see that. Getting temperatures of 150 right there. Pretty crazy. And here's Sour Lake. I'm guessing it's sour because it's acidic, maybe. What's fueling all this energy is the massive magmatic system below, and all that heat coming from the internal power of the Earth. Burning cauldron. So Yellowstone is a very dynamic and changing place, and one of the things that help these changes are earthquake swarms. Now earthquakes, when earthquakes happen in volcanoes, usually people get a little worried about an eruption. Now earthquakes do usually precede an eruption, but not always. Earthquakes can be caused by many things, such as tectonic fault movements, rocks breaking, as well as fluid movements and hydrothermal systems. So earthquakes have changed a lot of the features here at Yellowstone over the past century even. Like this area behind me, you can see all these trees. They all died, and on that plaque back there it said in 1927 there was earthquakes swarms here, which caused ground temperature to rise, which resulted in all these trees dying. I'm now crossing the Snake River Plain in southern Idaho. I have left Yellowstone. Look over there, that's, I'm not sure what butte that is. It's an old volcanic cone. It's pretty weathered and eroded looking. It's got, of course, towers up there. There's another one over that way. And it's pretty hazy and smoky. Hopefully I can make it out of this desert alive. So, hopefully you can see this through my bug-splattered windshield, but I am approaching Craters of the Moon National Volcanic Monument. We should be there shortly, within the next few minutes. You can see there's a giant cinder cone up there, as well as some smaller ones over there. There's a lava flow field over that way. Should be some interesting stuff once we get up here. So here we are at Craters of the Moon National Volcanic Monument. Of course it's extremely windy, so sorry about that. See the flow surface. I think the most recent flow is only 2,000 years old here, so while I'm out of most of the wind, and while you can still hear me, Craters of the Moon is a volcanic rift zone. That is where the continent is splitting apart, and that allows deep melt to come up from the earth and up at the surface. All these lava flows around me are basaltic lava flows, like the Hawaiian lava flows that used to happen before the 2018, or at the end of the 2018 eruption. Here we are at the top of the crater, of this cone anyways, and hopefully that wind dies down a little bit once I get deeper into the cone here. Oh, look at that, there's like a little cave. Lava tube thing. Let's go check that out. Hopefully there's no animal living in there. probably bats. No, it's probably, I think it's just a little overhang. Well, this is where the action happened, right in here. Let's continue up. Insane wind. You can see the lava flow down there. Wow, there's no wind all of a sudden. What the heck? Here we are on one of the lava flows. Big surface cracks. I think these are a result of it when it cools down. That looks like an inclusion. That is an inclusion of the country rock, I believe. So this is rock that was down underground as just regular either sedimentary metamorphic rock. It was just hanging down there, and then when the magma came up, it grabbed it and pulled it along with it and it erupted on the surface, and now it's trapped in this lava rock. Some deep holes around here. Now I think that craters of the moon could erupt decently soon. What makes me think that is I like to watch earthquake activity. I check it usually daily, and I believe it was 2015 there was a earthquake either close to or right below the rift zone here, and it was about 20 kilometers down, which is about where the source of the magmatic system is. And then I think there was another one in 2018 at 10 kilometers down, and I think there's been a total of 3 earthquakes that have happened below ground here, and before that I don't think there's ever been any recorded activity here. So things might be churning underground slowly. Maybe there'll be an eruption here in about 2 decades or so. Who knows? We'll see. Here we have a lava tube, probably a really small one. Let's go in it. Not all the way, of course. The roof doesn't look very stable, although it's probably been here for a couple thousand years. Hell yeah. You can see the lava flow right here as it was traveling through this tunnel under the previous lava flow. Tubes like this help insulate the lava flow, so it helps it travel extra far. It can travel several miles. It seems to end right there, but you can see how it melted the surface of the roof here. Pretty cool. Now that's a crater. There's actually two kind of, you got the main crater and then you got two vents in here that were feeding the crater. The sun's going down. That's a cool shot there. Big crater. Kind of got out of the wind finally. I'm wondering how big this trail is because the sun's starting to go down. Awesome. Just think of the amount of, look at all this rock. That's a lot of lava. That's a lot of rock. That's a lot of weight in rock. That all came up out of the surface. Came up from the ground to the surface, I mean. Now just think of the source that had to melt all this rock to make it a liquid so it could come to the surface. And then think of the forces that pulled this land apart. Here we are at the spatter cones. This is pretty interesting. animals down there, squirrels. Someone lost their hat right there. There's snow down there. That's what's interesting. Snow must have fell recently, and it's just cold enough, it just keeps it there. At one point, if you were standing here while this was active, there would have been a pool of lava with gases shooting splatter out right here. That's what made this cone. I gotta walk back to the car and figure out how to get back to it somehow, because I thought it was a loop trail, but apparently the trail just kind of disappears. Oh gosh, I got such a long walk to go. It's getting low on water. It's like a desert out here. Oh, some more cool volcanic landmarks out here. On the road again. I can't wait to be back on the road again. Hope. I see hope. It's in sight, my car. There's my car. Way over there. At least I'm getting close. So this is going to wrap up my trip. Oh, there's a bat. See him? There he goes. So this will wrap up this video of my road trip to Quake Lake, Yellowstone National Park, and Craters of the Moon. I've been here since, let's see, took off Friday, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it's been 3 days now. Tomorrow, and a little bit of tonight, is going to be just me heading on back home, which is about 400 miles north. So, yeah, I got to make it back for classes by Wednesday and Tuesday. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Take off my hat, kind of. I look weird. So I hope this gives you an idea of what's here, and highly recommend taking trips out here yourself instead of just watching my video. Of course watch my videos, but it's better to experience it in person. There's my little Subaru. Some gorgeous mountains. And it looks like some of that haze finally blew out, but anyways, once again, I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you all in the